In the book of Revelation, Jesus addresses 7 churches. Now, he typically commends them for some things and he corrects them for some things. And the first church he addresses is the church in Ephesus. And he commends them for their commitment to truth, their perseverance amidst the false teachers that are seeking to infiltrate their fellowship. Now, what's wonderful as that is, Jesus has some strong words of rebuke when it comes to the way they love one another. Right? So sadly, in their zealousness for truth, their love has grown cold. As we look at Matthew 24 today, this whole chapter has to do with Christ's return. And one of the characteristics Jesus tells us that will be present leading up to his return is that the love of many will grow cold. So let's dive in and let's be encouraged and challenged by this. I'm going to read Matthew 24, 11 through 14. And many false prophets will appear and deceive many people. Because of the increase of wickedness, the love of most will grow cold, but the one who stands firm to the end will be saved. And this gospel of the kingdom will be preached in the whole world as a testimony to all nations, and then the end will come. So this whole chapter is meant to prepare Jesus' followers for his return. There are many of the characteristics that are surrounding his return in this chapter, and one of the things that we see is that amidst the increase of wickedness, people's love will grow cold, right? So things are promised to get worse. Now, for us as Christians, one of the easiest things to do is to see an increase of wickedness and throw our arms up in the air in despair and become cynical towards everyone, to want to withdraw from everything, well, just feeling sad about the overall state of things. Now, certainly feeling sad about the state of things isn't a bad thing, but let's look at what else Jesus says here. In verse 14, Jesus says the gospel will be preached to the whole world, like to all nations. So if my love grows cold towards those I'm called to be an ambassador towards, I will be tempted to be cynical and withdraw rather than being a vehicle that engages them with the gospel. And one of the things we've talked about in this Daniel study is that when I lose sight of my heavenly citizenship, I will assimilate. When I lose sight of my role as ambassador, I will separate. And Scripture is advocating for neither assimilation nor separation, but participation. Right? So participation in the kingdom of this earth, but with the values of the kingdom of heaven. Now, human nature will typically lead us down one of two paths. Either we will be like the church in Ephesus, with a commitment to truth, but a tendency for our love to grow cold, or we will forsake truth as not being important, while only putting a premium on making others feel good. In preparing us for his return, Jesus is saying, be aware of false prophets, know the truth. Yet, and not to let our love grow cold due to the increase of wickedness, because the gospel must be preached to all nations. So let us be people who are faithful to do both, faithful to truth, faithful to love, and therefore ultimately faithful to the mission that Jesus has called us to.